So it's help yourself or hurt yourself. Help yourself, or hurt yourself. If you don't help yourself, you're liable to hurt yourself, you see. Doesn't that make the most sense in the world? Just let's say it again, folks. You are to help yourself, otherwise you're sure to hurt yourself. You can either help yourself or just hurt yourself and then help yourself, or keep hurting yourself. See, because you've heard that before, right? Like they do say, as far as the fact that you can easily get diseased by not paying attention to what you eat. And they say literally, what you're putting in your mouth, what you're eating, you're either eating to stay alive or you're eating to die. Literally, what it is at the very moment, what it is that you're putting in your mouth, is it cilantro and spinach and carrot raw, or is it a packaged freeze-dried? Fucking open it up and look at the back, and it's got 75 extra ingredients, but it's a chickpea, and I don't know, but be careful and see see what I'm saying? So it's the same. Help yourself or hurting, right? And wow, are we not in a place where we have an opportunity to slow it down as far as our density in our physical bodies and even our minds, for sure. A lot of people are not managing that fucking thing. That thing is managing them into hell. In fact, it is such this, but that is the truth, that if you realize this, if you become fully realized, mentally and of course spiritually, you are like, you find, if you haven't noticed, babes, I don't know about you, but I live in the United States, in the Southern California area, and it's safe to say that it's okay, but once you know it's not okay, that you are living within an insane asylum. You're in a madhouse. You are in a madhouse. It's pretty darn dangerous because everybody's in a hypnotic trance. So from one household to the next, they have some idea as to what they're doing today, and their lives are this rather than something that you could beg to differ, if it was to be this moment now that you were alive and you had a choice, rather than what's going on in their minds and how they accrue it and how they've got to expend now. That's completely, there's an argument there. They are warring against the fact that, well, maybe we've made it to the wilderness, and really, what are the three things we need, folks? Have you figured it out? I'm just kind of throwing this into the mix, out of the blue. Just three things we need here to have availability and access to a life that is completely beyond the world, right? I mean, it's probably here already. If we look at what has happened in the past, which I don't think it was that long ago at all. When we say like 2,000 years ago and thousands of years ago, it's like, no, we can hardly log in, according to the trees in my area. Now, okay, so up north, they say that there's trees that are 2,000 years old. And I've seen them, they're huge. And so, okay, somebody has kept those. This is saying that there's an intelligence here that is, let's say, compassionate enough to keep a tree standing. It's still here as long as those trees are here. Something is resonating enough to say, don't you dare touch those. Not those, come on. Because guess what? Trees can probably grow, we don't even know. Probably way, like they could be 15,000 years old, or 5,000 years old. But something, and I think it could be, what if it's technological that is able to shrink everything down and really just control civilization into what it looks like today. Thank you for joining Halfway Sci-Fi. I am here to just, you should think on your own and have a great time with it. Boy, isn't there worse things going on out there with the entertainment? I was starting out with, how's your mind? You know what I mean? Drop it. Do not convince yourself of the mind or a word. Anybody's word or anybody's mind. If you achieve being beyond mind, which is this moment now, and realizing the peace of it, how peaceful it is. That is the nature of reality. In case you lost contact with reality, let's start over, kids. I am so happy to be here today. Did you just log in? Reality is now, it's outer space, that place just beyond the nose. It's not this noise, it's this, and it's not noise, it's sound if you listen. You just give it a listen. Just kind of sit back and let things come in for a minute. It's very sound. We'll call it sound because you don't control that, and so your perception isn't to gauge it one way or the other. It's just there, and I'll let you in on a little hint about musicians. What we do is translate it into music. We can. It depends. If it's a repetitive sound, for sure, it's insane. It's like, no, I don't mind. We can translate pretty much any sound into music, and just call it a symphony of 6 chainsaws and 2 wood grinders going in the same neighborhood. Sometimes it happens, and it's like, well, including me, I'll get my chainsaw out and say, well, might as well. Um, uh, then at that point, it snaps in. I'm listening to this symphony of beautiful music. And it's like, well, and even though I have earplugs on, thanks for sitting through this with me. I went off on an egoic tangent. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. And just ignoring the fact that I forgot completely what the hell I was trying to tell you. Oh, it's about the mind, and it's the plague. People don't know. See, the mind would never, ever. It's the first one to argue that it's way more important than that place just beyond the nose, which is available now only. It's called outer space, babes. The final frontier. See, and that's not even really the final frontier, but it is for what I'm talking about is the sheep, the ones that have the 5 pointers here, and we're getting into our 5 senses. Why not? I say go right through it, man. You have to just, man, we have to get into it. We don't deny it. We don't come here. Like a lot of some of the stuff going on in the past where they're saying to deny the body, and other good gurus would say, no, you go right into it and just know that you're doing it. Say, look at me now. I'm on a roller coaster, licking an ice cream or whatever, and keep watching. You don't live there forever, right? Who lives forever puking in the park? You just don't. I mean, eventually you find yourself in another place. But you don't want that to happen with a literal down-home death. Like, well, what song is that? Anyway, what I mean is you can die in this lifetime and say, whoo, God, I didn't mean it was always just now, and I really don't have to. It's not a must that I go off with my friends and do the same exact thing that they do all the time. Now we're turning age 6. I don't know about you, but boy, did we clue in on something and get a grip on it and say, fuck you. Did you learn how to say fuck you yet? Whoa, okay, that's fine. I believe you. We are looking into 35, 26, 35, 45, 55, 65-year-old beings that have not gotten into their bodies yet. They are the fully encapsulated narcissist, cerebral narcissism, and the somatic narcissist, and their particular life process. It's interesting, It's we have psychology that has studied this and has statistical, records of these patients that go in and talk to them, and it's lifetimes and lifetimes. I mean, but it's not long. I think it's only like 200 years old, really, not if not that. The study of psychology, which is a pseudoscience, because it's pseudoscience, because fake science, because we don't know where the mind is. All we're studying is behaviors, and we come in and the main thing is it comes down to a complaint that somebody has done something. They are behaving a certain way, and then all they can do is like let's bring them in and talk to them. And then they start explaining their childhood, and everybody will get in on it. Well, yeah, the childhood was such as this. It depends on how extreme the behavior was, you know what I mean? And so we have statistical studies, like, for instance, it's kind of scary, but you know how there's serial murders out there. Well, really the ones that commit real life. You don't want to talk about serial murders. You don't even want to talk about what serial murderers are. What do you know about serial? Anyway, be careful, mommy. Don't. What are you putting in there? Ah, you gotta love your narcissist. Don't do that. Anyway, God, no, but the ones that psychologists have noticed because they go in and they get assessed and they try to get their history, and other people will tell them, no, this is how they were raised, blah 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 blah. And there's a certain outline. Guess what? The main thing that shows up with those people, like the ones that wear the ski mask and rah, 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 um, they they were born in a very very small town, way up in a rural town, particularly the lone child, the only child. But it's not always like that. But see, there's the ones don't get on the list of psychological study, but we do hear the basics of what people are like, and that's what enables, like, say, whole entire societies that are hidden to take over other societies and do like social engineering and stuff like that with the technologies that just come out, and they kind of hunt them down and take it away and try and figure it out, and then start controlling the population with it. And then that's precisely what has happened with just about everything you can think of, down to everything you can think of, down to your toothbrush, because it's like, well, isn't there a better thing, a way to make everything? And the answer is yes. Make it to where it actually cleans the teeth, at least, and stop poisoning us. You know what I mean? It's like it's just like, could you? It's just a big halt, and you're gonna live just as long, as the next person being radiated, increased in the air now, and that's why our lifespans are so short, and everybody shrivels down. It's like, because we forgot to keep the signs up on the sites that says, "Do not live here." It's basically a Chernobyl, and there are some mountains of weird stuff. I think it's right over there, in Joshua Tree. Getting back to the civilizations that aren't that old. Logging in, why is it just 2,000 years old that we have? Just some trees in Africa, I think, and they're really weird looking. They are 5,000 years old. But they're so strange looking. It's like, that's not even a tree. It's like, that's something that looks otherworldly. It looks other earthly, really. It's like, oh man, if that's going on, there's something else going on out there in outer space. Um, the final frontier. In case you had a human body and you're listening to me, let's contemplate. Do you think that the cartoon here, which is the entire universe, human ran, meaning as a technology, it's like, we couldn't log in here without it, what I mean? You got, right now, technically you should have a set of lungs. And at the very least, this is a little looking glass, right? You have to have somehow to look at it. And I swear to God, having gotten talked about a little bit about Chernobyl, the worst possible, it's not the worst possible thing that can happen, not even what happened with Japan. The worst possible thing that can happen is people that are rendered unconscious of just about everything, especially their own existential login and availability to reality. That is number one, toxic. And so, having said that, never get involved with, especially now. Do not think that it's worth a damn. There is something called the truth, and that includes the truth about people. See, there's the truth about people. That's why just stick with the truth. People, no, 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 no. We have a problem on the planet. It's worse. It's worse than Chernobyl or anything. Because in fact, guess who causes Chernobyl and that shit? What are these people? What are they? They are minds that says, they don't self-reflect. You know, they just say, let's do it, and the next person would say, I'd say let's not do that, because it's kind of, it's a dirty way of doing it. We have electricity over here, and we have Tesla or something like that, but why is it the way it is now? Do you know that it is an absolute goofy ass circus farm fucking house, enshrouded over by a massive institution called the financial. There's some way that you can get more creative than that, folks. Comment section down below. Open a channel. Dare say something that goes along the ley lines of the truth, first of all, because there is stuff already happening here. First of all, let's try out the possibility of there being the humane being. Hi, Jesus, was that you over there?